Good morning, good morning. Hi. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. It is Sunday, August 16th of 2026. I am Reverend Dr. Kadar Walker. I use the she, her pronouns, and I'm honored to serve as the minister of this beloved community. For those with visual disability, I'm a middle-aged European descent female. You notice I changed the wording there. European descent female. My hair is light brown mid-length. I wear glasses and I have on a multicolored purple flowered blouse. And I really want to extend a big thank you to Nick this morning. Yeah. One of our guests, well, our staff musicians are on break this month, so we're just delighted to have you with us. Beloved, you are welcome here. You are welcome. If you are here in person, sitting in the pews of this beloved sanctuary, a special shout out of welcome for getting out of bed, putting on clothes, brushing your teeth, and making the effort to be here. If you are on YouTube now or in the future, you are welcome. We are glad in however form and body and spirit or digital form you have arrived. If you are a longtime member and you are here by sheer habit, awesome. If you are brand new and this is your first time, awesome. You each get a cloud of affirmation and hugs of love. We are Unitarian Universalists. All are welcome. We are many people with many different beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders, celebrating each of us for who we are, for who we are becoming. We're a multi-faith religious community. All are welcome. Diversity is celebrated. Questions are expected. All are growing, we're learning, and we are loved, just as you are. And again, if this is your first time with us, if you're on YouTube, please, after the service, check out our welcome page on our main page, and then you can sign up for our newsletter, which is down at the bottom. It's a MailChimp opt-in option, and you can get bi-weekly emails from us. And explore a community. Send us an email. Let us know who you are and what you're interested in. And if you're here in person, please check in with our visitor table, which is through those doors in the garden lobby. Next week, we're going to have an introduction to Unitarian Universalism following service, and I hope you take the time to come and join us in that exploration of who we are and what you're looking for. Some things to highlight. Also, next week, on the 23rd, we are launching Faithfully Voting. That is in partnership with PIN, the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, of which we are a very proud and longtime member. And we are basically giving ourselves the skills to make sure we have a healthy democracy, particularly this fall, and inviting all of you to join us in what that can look like, what you can do to feel like you are reclaiming our democracy in ways that are very tangible and real and very, very needed. So we'll have more information next week, but we really need you to come and show up, and we'll have a big workshop after worship to get more informed, and you can walk away with a to-do list of how you can engage and feel empowered. I want to highlight September 13th is our Sunday for In-Gathering. This is our annual multi-generational service, followed by a potluck that is hosted by the board. And we invite you for that service, please bring a small sample of water. Maybe the water is from your garden, or from travels that you've experienced over the last year. Maybe it's from a puddle on your way here that you forgot at the last minute. But we gather their waters in an annual ritual of your journeys in life and your exploration. We bring those waters together in a wonderful collection, and then we bless those waters. And the waters are used to water our gardens here. They're used for child dedications, for memorial services, and weddings to bless us on our way throughout our journeys. It's one of my favorite rituals. So that's again September 13th. And we're looking forward to the potluck as well. So we are a very active community. There's a lot going on, and you are needed in body and spirit. So I'm going to be offering highlights of ways that you are needed today, skills that you don't know you need, you can learn here at this church. Or if you have skills that you'd like to share, very concrete. If you are interested in tech, our tech wizards there in the back, they need some help. They can teach. They love to teach. More importantly, they love to have Sundays off. But if you like listening to the service, if you like the option that it's on YouTube, if you like the slides, that's all part of our tech wizards. If you have magic, they are the people you want to see. We need people, I need somebody on the Council of Communities. If you are interested in organizing our social justice program under our SERVE, part of our mission statement, I need somebody in that role. We need Circle Supper coordinators. How many of you went to Circle Supper last year? Yeah, we need some people who can help coordinate that. Art committee needs people who are a little younger than the current ones, who can help hang the art, who can stand on ladders, and you will enjoy that. They all did that yesterday. There's a new art showing downstairs, which is really, really lovely. And one more, we need some people on stewardship, people who love to do fundraising. And I know that's not for everybody, but I think it's a hoot for myself. So you are needed here. You are really, really needed here. And this is a community where we find those places where we are ready and eager to serve. I invite you now to arrive in body and spirit, to be present in this time and space or wherever you are right now in YouTube. And I add that if you are in financial need, to please reach out to me. We have funds for short-term needs, and just reach out to me with a phone call or an email. We have a wonderful fund for financial assistance for emergency issues. Picture yourself connected to one another in this time and place throughout Pittsburgh, throughout the weekend of people who gather to worship, to be in community, to sing together, to pray together, to just hang out. As we turn to our chalice lighting, the symbol of our faith as Unitarian Universalists. 2 circles marking Unitarians and Universalists with a flame held bright in the middle. As Kirsty lights this flame, may we be reminded of the depth and importance of the religious exploration of ourself and the universe, that we are seeking affirmation for the closeness and love, that we are here to celebrate the joy of work and rest, that we are here that even in the midst of chaos, we choose life. I invite you to stand as you're able in body and spirit. For 347, gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the Good morning. My name is Kirsty Atkins, and I'm the liturgist of the day. Please join me in the collective grounding, which is in your order of service. We name our collective recommitment to care for the earth, knowing the ground we live upon is sacred. We pledge to bring new life to the earth, new life to the air, new life to the waters, new life to each other, for all life is sacred.
I'm Erica Shadowsong. I'm the Lifespan Religious Education Director. I am an Afro-Latina. I'm wearing a purple headband, a dark blue shirt, and black pants, and I'm super, super happy to see you all this morning. And the story I would like to tell you today is called The Great Bonfire. There was a village that had a famous fire. I mean, it was known all throughout the land. Even people who had never been there had heard about it. And it was said that at this great fire, people gathered around and told stories. Children played at the edges. They sang songs. They remembered things. They fed each other. It was the kind of place everyone wanted to be. And there was a traveler who had heard about this great fire for years and years and years. And the traveler was tired. And the traveler realized that they had been moving from place to place for a long time. And they wanted a place to stay. And they thought about the great bonfire, a place where people were constantly kept alive and warmed by this fire that never went out. I mean, some people didn't even remember who had started it. And the traveler thought, you know, I think that is the place where I would like to go stop traveling. So they traveled and traveled and traveled and traveled, and they went on and on and on, up and down terrain and all over the place. They were used to that. But as they arrived to the village, exhausted, cold at night, they were looking on the horizon for the glow of this great fire that would tell them where to be, and they didn't see anything. So they kept going, and then they finally got to what had to be the village. But what they saw was this little fire struggling in the middle of the village square, and a few people dotted around, sitting quietly staring at it. And they thought, this can't be the great bonfire. What is this place? They sat down for a moment, and they thought, I wonder if I'm at the wrong place. And as they sat there, they listened, and the people who were by the fire, who had noticed that somebody had arrived, but almost unconsciously started to talk about how the fire used to be. Oh, this fire used to be so much bigger. You should have seen it in its early days. Oh, I miss how this fire used to be. There used to be more people here. There used to be this, there used to be that. The fire used to be like this, the village used to be like that. And then finally somebody said, somebody should do something about this big bonfire. The traveler silently agreed. Well, I guess this is the fire. At least it was once. And they sat disappointed. Is this really a place I want to be? Is this the end of this great bonfire? Has it reached its limit? And as they sat there, warming themselves, they did notice that every once in a while somebody would get up and go and find wood from somewhere and bring it back and add it to the fire. It wasn't a lot, but steadily, every once in a while. And the fire kept going, and the traveler thought, why do they bother? This fire's not going to get bigger with just that wood. But they kept watching, and people kept going, almost rhythmically. They kept going. And the traveler got really curious and said, I wonder where they're getting all that wood. And they watched and continued to watch. And finally, they couldn't stand it anymore. And they were so curious, they said, The next time somebody goes to get wood, I'm going to follow them, and then I'll find out where they're going. And so when somebody got up, before they even thought about it, before they even realized what they were doing, they were on their feet, and they went to get wood. And that is the story of the Great Bonfire, which we will be talking about more later today. And now I invite you to, we'll remain seated, but we're going to sing Go Lift It Up, and our children are going to go to their summer activities.
Go Lift It Up is 1057 in your teal hymn.
It's time for our morning offering. Donations by check may be mailed to the church office. Electronic donations can be made online through the church website and following the instructions. Our Share the Plate organization for August is UU Justice Pennsylvania. And some information about this organization is on the back of your order of service. During the offertory music, you're invited to light a candle or place a stone in the Blessed Community Water as you offer silent gratitude or prayers. 2 tables are in the sanctuary, one here at the front, and the second is to the right of the back there past the alcove. And now we have some offertory music. I need a handrail.
Breathe. There are many, many sorrows and broken places in our hearts and lives, but there is also joy, celebrations, babies being born, and graduations and vacations. And there is death and illness and fear. I invite you to hold them side by side. They are there making us fully human. I'm going to introduce a practice that comes from Zen meditation that perhaps you can carry forth. It is part of a much deeper and broader discipline from Zen Buddhism. But when we go into silence, if you would like to give this a try, that it's a count of 10 for each breath in and out. So you breathe in on 1 and exhale on 2. Breathe in on 3 and exhale on 4, just to 10. And then you start again. And if you have a puppy mind like mine and you lose count, that's fine. You just put the puppy back on the newspaper. Just start back at 1 and you start counting again. Do not be judgmental to yourself if you lose count. The idea is to bring peace and gentleness and spaciousness to our heart and mind. So I'll give this a little extra time as we go into our period of silence. And with that inward breath, 1. With every breath, there is life. With every moment, there can be love and fulfillment of joy and peace. Thank you for trying. And the spirit of love may embrace us in our most broken spaces. May the spirit of life help us heal in those places where wounds fester too much. May the spirit of peace help us breathe easily and deeply. May the spirit of equity and justice help us recommit to finding and working for balance in this world. For all those places that we need help, may we remember to reach out and ask, to reach out and love in giving and receiving. Blessed be, Amen. I invite you to stay seated as we sing 402, From You I Receive, to You I Give.
I'm going to sing it
Our reading for this morning comes to us from Victoria Weinstein. She is a minister at the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and she gives permission for Unitarian churches to use her reading as long as we give credit to her. So that's what we're doing. Last Sunday morning, I picked up the phone in the office at the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. After I said, "Good morning, Unitarian Church," a woman's voice said, "Good morning. Can you tell me what the topic is this morning?" Uh-oh. I thought real fast and said, "Come to church anyway. Come no matter what the topic is, because your church needs you and you need your church. And it doesn't matter what the preacher's going to say." I was the preacher that morning, and I knew it was true. The woman patiently waited while I finished my enthusiastic pitch, winding down by lamely adding, "The topic is actually on resilience." "Thank you," she said, and hung up. I'm glad she had a good sense of humor and was nice enough to greet me enthusiastically at the coffee hour after the second service. I had told the story to the congregation, and as an introduction to the offering, and she was a big enough sport to get a kick out of it and thank me for urging her to come anyway. Sometimes I wish we could do away with advertising sermon topics in advance altogether and just say for every week, today's sermon is called Come Anyway. Sermons are living things. They are a response to our life together and may wind up taking a very different direction than what the preacher originally advertised. You never know. Come anyway. The church needs you. You are, in fact, the church. Worship services are very consistent around here. The music director and the choir prepare beautiful music. The lay readers are terrific. The children's message is adorable and meaningful. The ushers and the flowers are gracious and lovely. And the coffee hour is sumptuous, and your minister does her utmost best to craft a relevant, thought-provoking sermon. But for my money, the most powerful moment that we share comes in the silence right before our meditation. How does that happen? It happens simply by virtue of all those people in all those pews breathing and being together as one in the spirit of hope and healing, gathered not by common belief, amazingly enough, but by common values and common need. Come be a part of that. Come anyway. Thank you.
My colleague, Victoria Weinstein, is actually now serving the church in San Francisco. She's got the big church now. I have no memory of the first time of going to a Unitarian Universalist church. Not surprising when you think that I'm a preacher's kid. I probably went when I was only a few weeks old in my mother's arms. But I have a lot of memories of being raised as a Unitarian Universalist in this faith. I remember the choir director coming over on Wednesday nights when there was rehearsal. He commuted and he needed a meal, and it was a great time, an opportunity for him to spend some time with my father, his boss, and with his family. It taught me about supporting staff. I remember also accompanying my father when it was appropriate on pastoral care visits. If it was at the hospital, I had to sit in the car and wait. But it taught me about care for the vulnerable. I remember hanging out in the church office after school sometimes, where there was always volunteers and administrative staff managing all the many requests and the phone ringing all the time. And it taught me that the church is a hub of engagement. Sunday mornings, I remember, yes, the preaching and the singing and the flowers, the dogwood tree that was outside the window. And I remember social hour. And I remember the whole controversy around when the religious education classes got out before worship and we decimated the cookie plates. I remember religious education classes and the children's chapel once a month and being in a play about Moses, whoever that was. I remember hanging out with the church sexton in the huge kitchen and listening to the musicians practice in the sanctuary that was massive, beautiful, that filled 500 people, and a chandelier with so many bulbs. I never did finish counting them. I remember going on hiking trips with the minister, different from my father when I was a youth, as in high school and college. It was a wonderful, invigorating experience for my mind and my highly energized body. But I remember most of all the final step in my salvation, serving as a youth advisor after college. The youth, they saved me. All of this, all of the people, the singing, the flowers, the youth, the love, the trust, the brokenness, the tears, and the arguments, even the arguments, all gave me the best life I could possibly have. The Unitarian Universalist religious community taught me how to be a human being, really, when it comes down to it. All those lyrics and the songs, the words preached, even though I usually didn't understand what my father was saying, the committee meetings, the lessons taught, and the gardens tended was all love given and received. There, and the flowers delivered and carefully arranged, the coffee and the tea usually prepared on time, and the cookies baked, the choir rehearsals, the mountains bagged, and the lessons that were taught around our values as we fought for lives that were threatened and rights that needed to be defended. I was shown, I was shoved, I was dragged, I was led, and I was loved into becoming. I offer all this because it's church shopping season. Membership committee knows this. The point in the year when the curious, the frustrated, the broken, the lost, the lonely, and those freshly moved all seek something. Maybe they know what that something is, maybe not. The religious journey is for seekers, those looking, questioning, inquiring, and wondering, can I be happier? Can I be better? More spiritual, more emotionally healthy? Satisfied with those big life and death questions? Can I be whole? Can I find myself? Can I find God, the holy, the divine, or that which we call and find in the transcendent, beyond the mundane of daily living? Can I not believe in God and still go to church? Short answer, yes. Am I loved? Short answer, yes. When we accept that this is a journey, and then that's why we're sitting here in these pews or in that comfy bed or chair, wherever you are on YouTube, well then, my friends, that is when the path actually gets more difficult. You're here. That was the easy part. Part of seeking the journey is to go in a lifetime of capitalistic untraining, detachment from the commodity market. Whatever you're seeking, it can't be pulled off the shelf like a box of cereal in a sugar buzz and dopamine hit. The consumerist approach to life does not work in this space. Don't bring your desire for transactions. If you're looking for monetary value, we have no product to sell. This is not a usury relationship. And even though stewardship and finance might have a heart attack, I'm asking you to unpack your wallet and leave it at home. Just metaphorically. If you are seeking on this journey, it is not about a monetary value. So, what it is about? It's about something far more precious. It's about your happiness. It's about love and meaning and commitment and devotion. So I'm going to ask, are you risk takers? Carry that forward for the week, for the month, for the year. Are you a risk taker? Ask of that honestly. And I'm not talking about parachuting and rock climbing. There are occasionally adrenaline rushes when you come to church, like when a kid accidentally crashes their bike into the church matriarch. It was an accident, I swear to God. I didn't do it intentionally. She was fine. She was just pissed, particularly when she found out who my father was. But this is the place to learn forgiveness. How to handle tensions and disagreements and some really strong opinions. This is the place to offer our vulnerability, our tenderness, and to freely offer it without expectation or need for affirmation. This is the place to express gratitude in abundance and to express abundance with gratitude. It's a place to learn the untested adventures in life, to commit fully, make your friends look good, to be in the moment, and maybe even have some fun. The risk of community built into learning new skills that are found right here. And recently, you heard me proclaim that the principles of theatrical improvisation fit very snugly into our Unitarian Universalist values. And in case you missed it, taking risks, committing fully, making your friends look good, and being in the moment and having fun, that's perfect for improv theater. This is a place where you learn to grow into something perhaps you didn't expect, to surprise yourself. A place to come where you don't know where the sermon topic is and who is the speaker. You just show up. Come because you're on a journey, and because everyone else is on a journey too, different places on the journey, and that's the best part. Come because you're needed. And I'm going to take a very overeducated guess that you're needed here and that you need us. So yes, it matters what is said, how it's said, and why it's said. The content matters. I don't know how much my father wrestled over his words in his sermons, but I do know he spent a lot of time in his study and with his books and his typewriter. I always heard the clack, 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 clack on Saturday nights. This is a Unitarian Universalist church with Unitarian Universalist values that happen to also align with improv principles, but as a Unitarian Universalist, we require, I want to use that word, and we expect a commitment to justice and to embrace a life filled with love in action. My friends, you are needed here, and it's not a wild guess, again, that you need us. So I invite you to put down the smartphones more frequently, to close the computer screens, and let your brain rest, because you won't find what you need in this religious life journey in a search engine. So let your beautiful brain rest, to breathe, to navigate amongst the real people, amongst each other, to sing those lyrics knowing that with savory and sweetness they are nurturing and nourishing your soul and your heart, that tender place. You are free to imagine what's next with fierceness, with courage. You are not alone. That's the best part about being here. In that silence before the meditation, in that moment, you can explore, create, lay down your burden. You can rest, forgive, heal, laugh, hum with the rhythm of this beautiful, powerful earth. Just be who you are and who you are becoming. I suspect as you wonder about the future that there's a backstory somewhere, some moments that are helping inform where you want to go, treasures to be found in those moments. One of my favorite childhood memories from growing up in a religious communities are the older matriarchs in the church. Okay, not the one I nailed with my bicycle, but the other ones. They adopted me. They talked with me during social hour. They brought me seashells from their winter adventures in Florida, and they made sure I had cookies during social hour. I learned generosity from them by watching how they showed up again and again. I watched them. As a young girl growing up, they were my models. And I learned to commit fully, to keep showing up, to make my friends look good and have fun. And I can't tell you how much I am glad I kept showing up. Will you?
Rabbi Abraham Joshua Herschel marched from Selma to Montgomery in 1965. Mile after mile, the road passed beneath his feet, surrounded by thousands of other people walking with him. His body grew tired, and still he walked. Later, when he tried to describe what that experience had meant to him, Heschel said, "I felt my legs were praying." I love those words. There are times when something we love or believe in, something we hope for so fiercely, simply cannot stay inside us anymore. Eventually, it asks something of us. In Heschel's case, it asked for his legs. Wangari Maathai saw the forests in Kenya disappearing. She listened to rural women talk about what that meant in their daily lives. They were walking farther for firewood. Water was becoming harder to find. The soil itself was being lost. Maathai began with something very small. She planted a tree. Other women planted trees. They put their hands into the soil and planted seedlings, one after another, until the Green Belt movement they created had planted millions of them. Maathai once said, "It's the little things citizens do. That's what will make the difference. My little thing is planting trees." I love the audacity of calling millions of trees your little thing. Grace Lee Boggs spent most of her long life in Detroit. She marched, organized, and worked in movements for justice for decades. Over time, she began asking what it would mean to actually create the world people were fighting for. She helped create Detroit Summer, where young people and elders worked together in their neighborhoods. They planted gardens in vacant lots, painted murals, and rebuilt pieces of their city with their own hands. Years later, people who had participated as young people understood that the gardens weren't the only things growing. They had discovered that they could make things happen. They could lead. They could become makers of history. Grace Lee Boggs said, we are the leaders that we've been looking for. Ella Baker spent her life helping people discover that same thing. She helped build some of the most important organizations of the civil rights movement, but she didn't believe movements depended upon a handful of extraordinary leaders. She believed in the capacity of ordinary people. She traveled, listened, organized, connected people with one another, and helped them discover their own power. Looking back over her life, Baker described herself in a way startlingly modest. I just thought of myself as functioning where there was a need. Something beautiful about that, to see a need and go there. Bell Hooks wrote about love, and she refused to reduce love to something we just feel. Love is an action, never simply a feeling. Love is something we do. Thich Nhat Hanh taught much the same thing about peace. His spiritual practice began in stillness, breathing in, breathing out, paying attention. Yet outside the meditation hall, people were suffering, and he came to teach that spiritual practice had to walk out those doors and enter the world. Peace, he said, is every step. Every step. When I put these voices beside one another, I hear a kind of conversation happening between them. Heschel's prayer grows legs. Maathai puts her hands into the soil. Boggs grows gardens and people together. Baker goes where she is needed. Hooks makes love into something we do. Thich Nhat Hanh puts peace into every step. And that conversation is still happening. Most of the people continuing it will never have their names written in a history book. This is about you. Someone looks out of a window and sees something happening to a neighbor and reaches for their phone. Someone accompanies a frightened person who doesn't want to go somewhere alone. Someone brings groceries or stays after the meeting to put away the chairs. Someone notices a teenager who is struggling and makes sure that young person knows there is at least one adult who sees them. Someone hears a racist joke at the dinner table and feels their stomach tighten because they already know how uncomfortable the next 5 minutes could become, and yet they speak. Someone else discovered that they were the one who caused the hurt. They can feel the explanation forming in their throat. They want desperately to explain that they didn't mean it that way. And somehow, they managed to listen instead. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Help me understand. These aren't the sorts of things that usually make history books. Who cares? But I think they belong to the same story, and I believe, in fact, actually, I know for a fact that there are stories like that sitting in this room. I don't know what all of you have stood up for, individually, one by one. I hear things. Who you have cared for when you have been afraid, what relationships you have struggled to repair, or what you have done simply because there was a need. But I know those stories are here. And I don't know what each of you calls the little thing that carries us across that distance between believing something and living it. For some of us, it's God. For others, it might be spirit, conscience, justice, love, or the interdependent web of all existence. Some of us may have no name for it at all. I want to offer one word, a word that's going to seem strange. It shouldn't. but a word that's going to seem strange in a Unitarian Universalist church: devotion. Devotion begins when something matters enough to start rearranging the way that we live. This is one reason I keep returning to the work of Kazu Haga. Haga teaches Kingian nonviolence and writes about something he calls fierce vulnerability. That phrase has stayed with me because love sometimes has to be fierce. Love says no. Love draws boundaries. Love refuses to cooperate with what is wrong. And sometimes we do those things with shaking hands and shaking voices. Haga also insists that this fierceness has to remain rooted in our shared humanity. He says there is no outside of beloved community. That's difficult. It means beloved community, this phrase that we have come up with that we use to talk about a community full of love, built on love. Beloved community has to reach beyond the people we already understand and find easy to love. It has to be big enough. It has to be big enough to hold human difference and human conflict. That doesn't require us to tolerate harm or to stop confronting injustice. It asks something much harder, that even while confronting what is wrong, we try not to surrender our belief in the possibility of human transformation. Haga talks about the difference between resolving conflict and reconciling conflict. Resolution fixes the immediate problem. Reconciliation attends to what has happened between people. We desperately need both. And that kind of relationship takes practice. Beloved community, this utopia, this thing that feels like a dream so far away, this isn't something we can simply agree with. It has to be lived somewhere with actual human beings, which is considerably harder. It happens when we know one another well enough that we cannot always present the best versions of ourselves. Imagine that. Imagine that. It happens when we cross the room even though we feel awkward, when we form relationships with people we might otherwise never have known, when we risk saying something difficult, and when we stay open long enough to hear something we would rather not hear. This is where we learn what happens after disagreement, right here. What happens when someone gets hurt? What happens when we discover that we were the one who caused the hurt? There is apology here. There is forgiveness when forgiveness is possible, and boundaries when it isn't. There is the humbling discovery that sometimes the difficult person in the community is us. I think we're all the difficult person in the community. Because if beloved community is something we hope for out there in the world, something we hope to find and join, then somewhere we have to learn how to live it. And for those of us raising children, there is something especially precious about letting them grow up inside that practice, as you heard Reverend Kate describe. Our children need more than lessons about our values. They need to grow up among people who are trying to live them, including their parents. Let them overhear us talking about things that matter to us, including the things we aren't sure about. Let them discover that adults ask questions and change their minds. Let them see us make room in our lives for other human beings, even when it's inconvenient. Let them see what happens after people disagree. Let them see what happens afterward. Because someday they will disagree with people they love. Someday they will hurt someone or be hurt. Someday they will have to decide whether being right matters more than understanding, whether discomfort means they should leave or whether something broken can be repaired. And perhaps one of the gifts of growing up in religious community is getting to watch adults practice those things before they have to do them themselves. The values we teach our children here are not beautiful words we have chosen for them. They are things we are trying to live too. We cannot give our children our convictions, and we can't decide what they will ultimately believe. That's not what we're here for. But what we can give them is a life among witnesses, people with dirt under their fingernails, people who go where there is a need, people who make love a verb and practice peace with every step, people stubborn enough to believe there is no outside of beloved community, and willing to let what they love rearrange their lives. And maybe that is enough. Maybe our job isn't to make children believe what we believe. Maybe it is to let them see that we believed something deeply enough to live differently because of it. That we loved people enough to show up. That community was worth the awkwardness, the inconvenience, and the work. That when relationships broke, sometimes we tried to repair them. When something was wrong, sometimes we spoke. When there was a need, sometimes we went. And that we kept trying to build something together that none of us could build alone. In the year that comes, there are going to be many opportunities to practice, many opportunities where you are needed. We're going to continue reading the work of Kazu Haga, so those group book discussions will continue. You will see that advertised. We are trying to form a partnership with Tree Pittsburgh to get our youth to go and have that experience of planting trees and caring for the soil alongside us. And we could use help making that happen. Don't wait until the newsletter has everything that it's supposed to. Don't wait until we're really good communicators somehow in the middle of your busy lives. I know I shouldn't say this, but we suck at communicating. But I don't mean that. I don't mean that we're bad at it because we don't try. I mean, don't wait. If you're curious about something, come and ask us. Be like the person who carried the wood. Find out where the wood is. That's how we build the great bonfire. Thank you.
Amen. Blessed be. Ashe. I invite you to stand as you're able for one of my favorite hymns, Fire of Commitment. Sing it like you're committed.
Sets our mind and soul ablaze.
I invite you to remain standing and bring your voices together as we extinguish our chalice. The words are found in our hearts on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go forth into the world, my beloved. Go forth into this world, finding your spirit rekindled. Finding your spirit rekindled to act in love, to show the world a service that we all deserve. And most important, return again. Keep showing up, because this is where the action is happening. Go forth in love, return again in love. Blessed be.